Keep in touch with the Wolf Connection Podcast on our Instagram handle at the Wolf Connection Pod, or email us your questions, comments, and guest ideas to podcast@wolfconnection.org. Thank you for your support, and howls to you all. Welcome to the Wolf Connection Podcast. I'm your host, John Calfa. Hey everybody, so Steven and I are here, and we wanted to first off let all of you know that this is our 150th episode that we're recording. So once again, we just want to give a huge thank you to all of you that have been with us from the beginning, subscribed to the podcast wherever you can listen to it, sent us emails, given us message on our Instagram. You guys really are the heartbeat and the soul of us and what we do. And the engagement has just been incredible through this short period of time. We're also celebrating our 3-year anniversary of starting this podcast.
Are we really?
Yeah, we are. It's crazy.
Nuts.
So we started in June of 2020, and so now we're at the 3-year mark. So we just wanted to really give a thank you to all of you out there for everything that you've done to support us through this entire journey thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys.
Yeah. And so with that, with the 150th episode, we want to preview this incredible event that Steven and I have been invited to go to, which is the Yellowstone Wolf Summit next week in Gardner, Montana. So it's being put on by Wolves of the Rockies. There are a ton of amazing speakers and people that are going to this event that are going to be talking about wolves, mostly from the Rocky Mountain region, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, Colorado, I think is mixed in there as well. And so we really want to just preview a little bit for you all so that we're going to be doing some podcasting from there. We're going to be dropping stuff on our social media. So really just want to give you guys an idea of who's there, who we're looking forward to seeing, which is pretty much everyone. I mean, I've looked at the list before, and I threw this at Steven a little bit, and there's not a person or a group on here that we really aren't excited to not only meet in person for the first time, but also just to hear speak and view their work. So it's really exciting. Steven, was there anyone for you that you saw? I know I gave you the list a little while ago that sort of stands out. I know Carter Niemeyer is going to be speaking, which I'm really psyched for Steven to meet Carter for the first time in person.
Yeah.
Again, Carter's a tall human being. He has just such a presence about him. So I don't know if there's somebody else that maybe sticks out or Carter in general. What do you think?
I mean, the first person I think about is Carter, just because he he's like, I like reading a certain type of book. And a lot of the authors, when I imagine them, they come up in my mind as folks who remind me of Carter Niemeyer. Like the way he talks, the way he tells stories, the way his voice sounds, the way he just presents himself and information. And when I think of Carter Niemeyer speaking, I just have this vision in my mind of like the most relaxing speech of all time, and just adventure and, wilderness stories and things like that. So I'm certainly excited to see Carter Niemeyer, but man, who else is on here? Dan Staller. That's going to be cool. I mean, all of these are going to be really cool. We've interviewed a lot of these folks, huh?
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing we wanted to mention to you guys is that there's a lot of folks. So the Wolves of the Rockies is going to be there. So you guys have heard us speak with Mark and Kim multiple times. Casey York from Trap-Free Montana is going to be there. Kristen Combs from Wyoming Wildlife Advocates is going to be there. Garrick Dutcher, Living with Wolves. That's all just day one. And so that's the first part of day one. So there's a lot of folks who you have heard Steven and I speak with that are going to be there. But
John
I'm
Potter.
really interested.
John Potter. Yeah, that looks like a cool one.
What's John Potter talking about?
What we do to wolves, we do to ourselves, a native voice.
Ooh, yes. I saw that. Yeah. So there's a couple of native voices there, a couple of tribal members, I believe, that are coming. Tyson Running Wolf.
Yeah.
He's in the Montana House of Representatives. There's really, really a lot of good speakers, a lot of good topics that we're going to be engaged in. We're going to be talking with these individuals.
Yeah. And we've seen Joanna Lambert do her, I'm sure it's a similar speech based on, actually, no, it's not, wolf and coyote research. Maybe it's not similar to the one in Aspen, but if it's anything like that one's going to be super thorough, and that one's going to be great to watch too.
Yeah, Joanna was fantastic in Aspen. I know you guys heard that one. That's episode 118 for those of you that are listening or not really sure. But she did the opening presentation before we even got to the panel. And that was that was one that everybody was already just so engrossed in, and it was just so thorough and so well done.
Yeah.
And just a teaser for that. So Steve and I are actually going to get a podcast with Joanna while we're in Yellowstone. So please stay tuned for that. Listen for that. We've been coordinating with her for a little bit, so she's really excited to come on. So that's always good. Stephen, what else stands out for you? What about the layout of the day? What else about just being in Yellowstone? It'll be our second time together. I think your third time total or fourth time. You've been there more than me.
This might be my fourth time being there at this point. But the first two times I was kind of passing through, so I only got a day or two in Yellowstone, like to really do it. But I'm hoping we get to drive to the park a few times. What is this? The 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Yeah, so we're gonna have to get through the park a few times. And we should mention that we're gonna talk to Joanna Lambert for sure. Possibly Casey York, Garrick Dutcher, Kristen Combs, Cassie Kamara, hopefully Carter again, and hopefully we get a few more on the list before we head out there. So if you have any questions for any of these folks that you want answers to, specifically to a specific individual or just generally, we're going to ask listener questions. Granted, we received some, so please submit some of those to our email, and which will be in the show notes, and or DM us to our Instagram page so we can add those to our list of things to ask. I think that'd be really fun to get some listener questions in there.
Yeah, and we're going to have this stuff posted on our stories. We're going to have this stuff posted we're going to do a couple of posts on our Instagram. So again, those of you that don't remember, like Steven said, in the show notes, in the description. So the email is podcast@wolfconnection.org. The handle is the Wolf Connection Pod, all one word. And just give us, again, Steven's right, give us any of your comments, anything you want to know about. Give us questions if you want about how's it going. Definitely reach out to us. We are going to be there for a significant amount of time. So if you're in the Gardner area, if you're going to be visiting Yellowstone National Park and you're going to be by the north entrance, that's where a lot of this stuff is happening. So we'll be around. So if you want to come up and meet us, if you have questions for us, you want to see any of these individuals, I believe the event itself is sold out. So I don't think there are any more tickets, but I know you're going to see a lot of wolf people roaming around in that tiny little area. So if there's questions or things that you might want to ask them, I think in person, I think it's possible they might be able to get to them. I don't know what people's schedules are like, but again, I think it's just something to keep in mind if you're going to be in the park in and around that time next week.
Yeah,
from that part of June.
That would be cool to meet up with some listeners while we're there too. I'm sure we will at this event as well, just because we've interviewed a lot of these folks, so we're going to meet people that are there to see them and et cetera. But it'd be cool to meet some folks outside the event as well. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out. And also we should mention that we're pretty sure that we're going to put the photo of our default image photo of a wolf named Willow from the Wolf Connection Sanctuary in California. We're going to take that photo and put it up in the Wonderland Cafe. And if anyone's interested in going there and purchasing this photo, it's all going to go back to the wolves at our sanctuary. It's all going to be a fundraiser. And we would really, if you are there and you see it and you take a picture of it, make sure to send us a photo of you with it or anything like that. Just we'd love to know if people are seeing it, if you're liking it, what you think about it being there, and if you decide to purchase it, we'd really love to know. And we'd love to give you a shout out if that is the case. But it is going to be up there, and it's just one of our favorite photos of Willow, her little bent ear, and you'll recognize it as soon as you see it as the podcast default. So yeah, we should mention that for sure.
I don't know if I ever asked you this, and I know we're while we're on the subject of it, and yeah, those are great things, by the way, that Steven mentioned. Please, give us a heads up. That would be great if it was while it's there, before it's eventually bought and all that money goes back to the wolves at our sanctuary. Yeah, if you guys are taking photos with it and let us know what you think. Is that your Did I ever ask you this? Is that your all-time favorite image of any of the wolves?
Oh, of the wolves, 100%. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
It's my favorite image of the wolves, and it's probably like my top 5 favorite images that I've ever taken of anything. And she gave me a great one after that too. But
Yeah.
This photo is definitely one of my. She's very photogenic, and she's definitely not shy of the camera when I'm in there. She's a model.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And what's funny, what came up for me is that it's timeless. I mean, that photo just really, again, we've been doing this for 3 years now. And that photo, every time I look at it in the way that we situate it, it's just a timeless capture of her in her natural, semi-natural environment. And it just really, it is just so powerful as well. So that's another thing that we wanted to share with you guys. And again, there's big leaps for us, and we're trying to do more trips, and we're getting, really we're trying to go to all these different places. And I think that's something too that, again, can't be understated, that really it's the support of, the guests and these groups that we're talking with, and that we're getting invited to these things. And we're very grateful, by the way, for Wolves of the Rockies for inviting us, for giving us a chance to come and attend these things. And it really just shows that this community is very tight knit. We're all in there to help the wolves, to help each other, to make sure that coexistence works. The one thing I'll mention too that I noticed on the itinerary, I think it's day 2 or 3. Oh, who was it? It was
I like how it's broken up by state as well.
Yeah, I like that as well.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh, here it is. Hillary, I'm going to say her last name, Hillary Anderson. So she's a rancher. It's day 3. So she's a rancher in Paradise Valley, and so she's talking about coexisting with wildlife.
Oh, I
which
see. Yeah.
We love that stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't wait to listen to that. We may try and I may try and see if we can get her on the podcast too over there, or at least try and do something post summit. So it's running the gamut, and I think there's a lot of you'll know a lot of the names, but you'll see some different ones, and I think it's really well balanced out. It's a chock full day. This really does remind me of the International Wolf Symposium when I went in Minnesota.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more of a break on some of these days, which is good. And I think it gives people a little bit of time to get into the park, to do some things like that. Plus, we're right there at the north entrance. I really want to commend Kim and Mark. I don't even know what it's like to put on something like this or to try and coordinate everything. So again, a huge shout out to the two of them for the work that they did to put this together. Again, I can't wait for Steven to meet the two of them for the first time in person. So they're really great, ton of fun. And, like all these individuals, and it's really great. And the correspondence that we've had prior to heading there and seeing everyone in person has been extremely awesome and very kind and generous. So that's, again, I use these superlatives, but I mean them. And it's really touching and really awesome that we're able to be a part of these things. And again, starting from where we started from 3 years ago, and grown into what we are now. I don't know. I think I asked you on episode 100, Stephen, did you think this, or what 3 years, go back 3 years. What'd you think?
I don't know. I go episode by episode, man. It's always surprising the stuff that, we've just been getting invited to such awesome things. And, it's really cool to see how we just had these humble beginnings, little basic gear setup, just trying to add a new thing to the Wolf Connection outreach portfolio. And now here we are getting invited to really cool places to meet incredibly smart and passionate people. And what else do you really want in life but to be surrounded by passionate people? It's the best you can ask for, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And doing the work to make these places, these wild places, as the best they can be, to keep them as wild as possible and to really promote coexistence. And I think that's, again, a lot of what it might not have been absolutely what Stephen and I envisioned in the beginning, but boy, it's grown into that. And again, it really does stem from just, again, the outpouring, the acceptance, and the openness for everyone that we have contacted and asked to come on this podcast, this little, like Steven said, this little startup in the beginning, and the engine just keeps on rolling down. To me, the track just keeps getting laid in front of us.
Yeah.
We think there's a stopping point, just the track keeps getting laid.
Yeah, it's definitely a testament to just consistency, right? We didn't really question it. Every week we just tried our best to get a podcast going. We've been, 95% of every week since we started of all the weeks since we started have been filled with podcasts, sometimes multiple podcasts. Like it just keeps morphing into its own thing. And what else can you ask for? Just be consistent, and it happens. It looks real. I just noticed there's this really big panel discussion at the end too.
Yeah.
That's going to be wild.
Yeah, read off those names too, Steve.
Wow, Mark Cook, Casey York, Eric Dutcher, Kristen Combs, Joanna Lambert, Betsy Klein, Hillary Anderson, Carter Niemeyer, Ken Mills, Cassie Kamara. I don't know how these people are all going to fit on a stage. It's going to be.
It's wild.
That's going to be a huge panel. I can't wait to see that.
No, that's great. And yeah, those of you that remember Cassie Kamara, she was one of our most definitely outgoing. She talks about the communications and all that stuff in Colorado. So she's there. We might have, I think Steven mentioned, we might have her. Yeah. But she was actually overseas doing, I can't remember what there was another conference, I believe, in Europe or in the Nordic countries. So she was a part of that type of stuff. So hopefully we can get her on a podcast to discuss the stuff that she was doing overseas as well as what she's talking about here. So she's got more information. She's traveling. She's really got her finger on the pulse, especially of the communication, the social media, and everything that's on this topic about, especially, we're talking about wolf reintroduction, but just wolves in general. She really has a good idea about that. And then the other thing too, you mentioned, Stephen, the person who on that panel that we haven't had on, love for you to meet Ken Mills. I met him at the symposium in October. He deals with wolves in Wyoming. So that's a whole different scope. Yeah. We spoke with Matt Yamashita, who's going to be dealing with wolves in Colorado, but Ken is dealing with them currently, has been dealing with them for quite some time. So Ken's an interesting guy. Really had some conversations with him in Minnesota. So he's another individual that we're going to hopefully get, maybe we get him on, or at least we just get to talk with him, just be in his presence and talking about stuff. But yeah, again, the list goes on and on. Yeah. A lot of good stuff. So just to recap for you all, and this is really just a preview for you all out there who are listening. We didn't need to go too long on it, but so we're going to be there. Again, please direct message us on Instagram, The Wolf Connection Pod. Email us, podcast@wolfconnection.org. If you, again, questions, comments, if you're going to be there, let us know. We can kind of, give you an idea of where we'll be. And then, questions for any of our potential guests, or questions just in general for anybody who's going to be there. And then the Willow photo going up in the Wonderland Cafe is really just a huge testament to just, again, their openness as well. We want to thank them for the invitation, or for us accepting our ask and to do this invitation. So again, support them if you're going there. They have a lot of great food, a lot of great drink, things like that. And that's really kind of like the Wolf Hub from what we know there.
That place is
Anything
great.
else you want to mention, Stephen, before we close out, or what else do you have?
No, I think that's it. I can't wait to be there, man. The Willow photo. I can't wait to see that up there, especially because before we even started this podcast, I went to Wonderland many times before that when I was in town, and always loved the photography they had on the walls there. And it's going to be cool to see our default image up there, and it feels like you're more connected with the place, and I think that's really cool, really meaningful. And don't forget, it all the funds go back to Wolf Connection. All helps to, literally feed our wolves and help out the podcast and all sorts of things. So if you see it and you're in the vicinity of it and you want to take a photo with it and send it to us, that would be so awesome. And if you're thinking about purchasing it, absolutely let us know if you end up doing so, because we'd really love to thank you for that and give you a shout out for that too.
100%. Yeah. So those of you that are listening, if you're in the area, we'd love to see you. If you're not in the area, contact us. And again, just watch our socials. We got a lot of stuff coming your way next week while we're in Yellowstone. So again, thanks for Wolves of the Rockies for inviting us, for putting on this incredible event. We can't wait to be there. We're going to be there sooner than we think. And once again, I know it's real quick. June's flying by. So once again, huge thank you to all of you out there. Incredible support from you all. And just this train's going to keep rolling down the tracks, and we're going to give you guys the best wolf podcast that we can, and just keep feeding us any ideas that you have, because you guys are really again, like I said, the heartbeat, the soul, everything like that. So without further ado, how's Teal out there? Steve and I will see you from Yellowstone and beyond, and we'll be with you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Looking for more information about Wolf Connection or the podcast? Please visit our website at wolfconnection.org, where you can donate, sponsor a wolf, or become a volunteer.